about things that happened so I can remember, because I'm getting older and I forget. And I was making a new list because I forgot where I put my list. And I'm making this list and I found my list and I'm like, oh, here's some good stuff. So I'm not really thinking of it, but I'm looking at it and I'm like, okay, what's that? I know lick my hand, I can tell you that story, I get that. And then I've just got bigger, blacker dick, $20. No clue what that means. I was like,
oh my God.
I guess I could get one if I needed to. I got $20. So anyway, you'll have to forgive me if I ramble. But I love conventions. I love coming to conventions. Like I said, it's got that Grateful Dead vibe for me, that it's all family and stuff. But weird stuff can happen to you at a convention. There's no question about it. You know, and it's usually, a lot of it is mostly innocent stuff, but you don't know. Like one time I was at a convention in Wisconsin, and this cat comes up to me, and I'm like sitting at a table like this, and he comes in from the back of the room, and he's got this beautiful mech, plastic and molded stuff, and he comes in, mask on, he's like, and I'm like, dude, what is that? He comes up, and he comes right up to me, and he just looking, I can't see who it is, he's like, I don't care what anybody says, but I'm your #1 fan, and I'm about to go fanboy on you. What? I didn't know. But he turned out to be a really cool guy, And, but I have, sometimes some kind of gross things happen, right? Let's be honest, they do. I was at my very first convention in Toronto, not Toronto. Speaking of which, we have some Canadians in the audience. Let's give them a big hand. This is what I mean. I jump around, and I've already forgotten the story because the Canadians fucked me up. Way to go! Damn it!
We'll do it again.
All right, hang on. One of the great things, when I get invited to a convention, my wife is like, if I get Sulphur, Louisiana, which is a town, Sulphur, Louisiana, been to a convention there, my wife's like, enjoy yourself. But then I get invited to, say, Dublin, Ireland, she's like, I'll be coming with you, And she did this one time, and I took her to this convention, and it was lovely. We'd never been to Dublin before. We were having a blast. We were on the plane over. And this lanyard, well, that's not even a good example. The cap on this bottle knows more about anime than my wife does. So we're on the flight over, and we're having a glass of wine and chatting, and I said, hey, listen, I don't really know how to say this to you, but I know you don't know much about anime, you've never been to a convention before, but I just want to kind of prepare you that it's a little out there, and it's a lot of fun, but it's, but also, I'm kind of a big deal. And she's just like, you're what? Well, I'm just saying, it's just, that's why we're invited to the convention, because they wanted us to come there. We're the celebrities, I guess, or whatever, and come on. Go, you're good. And so she's like, whatever. So we land in Dublin, and we come through customs, we get our luggage, and we come out, and they're in the lobby of the airport are 10 people with signs going, we love you, John Swasey! And my wife is like, no fucking way. I said, I told you. So, when you're at a convention and you're a guest, you get a liaison. Somebody to handle you, somebody to get you to your panel on time, to get you to autographs on time. And my liaison in Ireland was this girl named Sinead. And Sinead is chatting with my wife and goes, you're so lucky. And my wife, she's like, what are you talking about? She goes, I mean, you're married to John Swasey. My wife's like, so? She goes, well, I mean, you get to be with him all the time, you get to wake up with him, you get to sleep with him. And my wife, without missing a beat, goes, yeah, he's no big deal. Thank you, honey. So the next trip to Ireland, I didn't take her. But that was a funny trip too. That was the weekend before the election. You remember the weekend before the election? Yeah. That weekend, literally before the Tuesday, Saturday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I was in Dublin, Ireland. And I had a friend of mine come over from Berlin, Germany, hang out over the weekend and stuff and do the convention. So Saturday morning, we're walking in this walking around town, right? We pop in about 10:30 to this little pub. And it's just as stereotypical as you can imagine. There's 5 or 6 older guys in their little Irish caps and drinking a Guinness, with their grandson right next to them, And we walk in, and my friend Matthias was from Berlin. He's like this tall, he's a really tall guy. And he comes in, we're like, well, we'll have a couple of beers. And we get a couple of beers, and I said, notice these guys, and they're laughing. And I said, Matthias, I think these fellas are laughing at you because you're so tall. And he goes, yeah, and so the guy hears me talking, he's like, you're not from around here, are you? I'm like, no, man, I'm from the States. He goes, oh, I figured as much. Hey, I'd like to ask you a question. Sure, man, what is it? He goes, what the fuck are y'all doing over there? I'm like, dude, I don't know. That's why I'm in a pub in Dublin. Yeah, so anime conventions are great, man. I love them. But like I said, things can get a little gross, right? Things can get a little weird. Like one time I'll never forget, I was at my MetroCon, that's what I was trying to tell you earlier, my first convention, MetroCon in Tampa, Florida. You been there? You live at MetroCon. You actually live at the convention. Do you really? Well, I love Tampa. It's a beautiful city.
I probably have more horror stories than you.
Come on up, brother. If you got one, I want to hear it. I'll bet you $5 mine's worse than yours.
You're gonna owe me $5. Let's take these stamps into consideration real quick. How MA can I go here? Because that's a...
Well, dude, it's 18 or over.
Fantastic, all right. So, is anyone here from the East Coast? Cool, is anyone here from Florida? So he can vouch. All those news articles you read, like Florida man, such and such, goes viral on the internet, they're all legitimate. So take a weird state and then get an anime convention and just do whatever arithmetic you have to do there. It's the results what you can expect. And one of the favorite things I like to do at these cons is throw wild, stupid parties. If you have a cosplayer or anyone you know that lives on the West Coast, I've probably gotten them shit-faced. And...
Alright, hang on. So, get your story. We're having a competition here.
Okay, right, competition. Ooh, which one do I want to do? So let's go ahead and let's go to Lightsaber Guy. I love Lightsaber Guy. Lightsaber Man is an individual who, like you said, conventions, you start seeing the same people over and over again, especially when you go there. And Lightsaber Guy is creepy. Just straight up creepy. Definitely kind of has that predator mindset to him. And hanging out one day, and all of a sudden I'm going to the rave. And if you want to see some weird stuff, the rave is the way to go. And I'm sitting with my friend in the bleachers. And we're kind of saying, okay, this rave is kind of meh, whatever. And we see Lightsaber Guy just down there, down a few rows below us in the dark with, it looks like a girlfriend. And we're kind of sitting there like, oh, great for Lightsaber Guy. He's really, oh, he's finger blasting her in the rave. Oh no. He was just going to town. Right there. And that's bad. That's not something you should be, that's not sanitary. I wish that's where it stopped. Because we've always had kind of passing conversations with Lightsaber Kid. He liked to talk to us. He thought we were friends. We weren't. But he saw us see him, and he didn't stop looking at us.
Okay, I think that's good on the story. Wow, here's $5. I'm not even going to tell you. Can I just bring you to all my panels from here on out? Just I'm gonna try. This is my Tampa story. This is my Metrocon Tampa story. Doing a panel, my first year to ever do a convention, Saturday, hanging out, it's about noon. It's me and a few other voice actors, but we're missing one actor, a certain Monica Rial. We all love Monica, right? Monica was not there, and we wondered, where is Monica? And we're telling everybody, we're gonna get started in just a second as soon as Monica gets here. And right about then, from the back of the room, the door opens and in walks Monica and comes down to the middle and walks straight up the aisle. And I'm not kidding you, she was like this. We're like, honey, what's wrong? She comes over, grabs the mic, and she goes, so, you know, sometimes when you're at the hotel and it gets really busy because all the people are going up and down and it takes a long time for the elevators to, so sometimes you get impatient and you take the stairs.
Oh, no.
Give me my $5 back, brother, because here it comes. She comes, she goes, so I'm walking down the stairwell and it's, you know, steps and a landing and turns, steps and a landing and turns. She goes, and I'm right about the 3rd floor when this particular odor attacks my nose. And I'm like, what is that? And the more I'm walking, the stronger it's getting. And I come around the corner. Now, I'm not saying it was any one of you. But if you poop in the stairwell, I am never coming to your convention again. So I'm like, how do you follow that? I mean, it's like, okay, so any questions? So I'm telling this story at a convention in Ohio. I'm talking to the head of the convention and we're chatting and I share this story that I thought was beyond belief. And she goes, I can beat that. How can you possibly beat that? She goes, well, we were at a convention one time and we were riding up the escalator and the guy in front of us just took down his pants and took a shit right on the escalator. And then it got, you know, it does this, so it gets you like that. So I gave her $5, man. Anyway. Getting old as hell.
That's a particular odor to it.
So this didn't happen to me, but this is actually one of the funniest stories I've ever heard. Since we're talking about poop. It's one of the funniest stories I've ever heard. You know the actor Eric Vale? Yeah, right? Yeah, give it up for Eric. He's all right, man. Good guy. Super, super talented. I love me some Eric Vale. So he was telling me this story one time. We were doing this panel, and he was doing it with me, and he's like, well, I'll tell you a story. He goes, one time, I was at my hotel, and I'm sitting on the pot, having a, you know, just doing my thing. And I hear the door to my room open. And I realize it's the maid coming in. But I am just out of reach for the bathroom door. So the maid comes in. And Eric's sitting on the toilet. He's like, so. So you never get tired of pooping. So, all right, what else do we have? Pooping stairwells. So, this is actually a good story. This isn't really funny, but it's a good story. And it happened here, which makes it even better. No, it's a good story. Years and years ago, I was down in South Texas at a convention, and called Sakuracon. I was in Padre Island, which is like 20 minutes from Mexico. I mean, it's right there. And we're there, and I'm talking to this fella, and his name, he's here tonight. I'm bring him up in just a second. But his name is Tony Akamura. I said, well, you know, if you don't mind me asking you, that's an interesting name because you're Mexican, and I didn't know there were many Mexicans with the last name Akamura. And he said, well, I changed my name, and he told me the story behind it and all that. And I was like, oh, okay. And he goes, but what I'm doing is, John, I'm actually studying right now to become a U.S. citizen. I was like, oh, well, good for you, man. That's great, man. Congratulations. And he goes, yeah, I've been working hard at it. I've been doing this and this and this. I said, well, friend me on Facebook and let me know how you do. Let me know the progress of what you're doing. He's like, all right, do it. And he did. It was great. So like about a year and a half, is that right? A year and a half later, I'm at my first Sakuracon. And I'm in the room doing autographs. And you know how they've all got it partitioned off, right? You've got to follow the little lane and that. And I'm signing autographs, and I see this dude kind of walking down the side of it, and I'm like, you know, looking, I'm like, oh man, you know, don't be that guy. You know, don't cut in front of people, and you know, you're gonna get pissed, they're gonna throw you out probably, whatever. And he keeps walking, man, I'm just like, God, dude, you're gonna get in trouble, too. And all of a sudden he goes, John, it's me, Tony Akamura. I was like, dude, you're kidding. And he goes, no. He holds up his certificate of citizenship. Woo! And this is Tony Akamura right here. Yeah, I'm telling you, man, it brings you, making me tear up right now. Hang on. Sit the fuck down. So, Tony, so now, are you living up here?
I live in Alabama now.
You live in Alabama? That makes good sense, you know. From Mexico, gonna go to Sakuracon, but I'm gonna start it all in Alabama. You know what the sign is for the Alabama and the airport sign? It's just a picture of a dude going. Sorry. Are you going to school?
No, I'm only there for 2 years.
For 2 years, okay, good. So you're doing a lot of traveling now and something like that? You like to come to Sakuracon, right?
That's my 7th year here.
Well, dude, we can visit more in a little bit, but that is one of the, I love telling that story, and I could not be more happy. It's like, you know, in the world of anime, if you can just get one person to become a U.S. citizen, it's really well worth it. So, dude, love you guys. Thank you so much for being here. We'll catch up in a minute. So, like I said, weird stuff happens at anime conventions. And, you know, we get to travel a lot to different places. And there's different vibes of different people and this kind of thing. And for like 1 year in particular, I seem to be doing a lot of conventions in Florida. You know, Metrocon, right? So there's a ton of them in Florida. There was one that was up in Daytona. And I had been 1 year, and it went well, so I came back the next year. Now, a lot of times when I go to a convention, I show a movie. And it's a particular movie that I show called Lake Texarkana Gamera, which is a live-action Japanese movie that we dubbed as a bunch of Texas rednecks. And it's very funny. If you're friends with me on Facebook, PM me and I will send you a link to it. It's very funny. It's free. You know, we don't sell it. It's free. But it has lines like, "That's a big ass turtle." Anyway, so a lot of times I'll show that film. Well, I had shown the film at this convention 1 year, so they invited me back the next year, and I said, okay, well, I'm going to show a different movie. And we had just dubbed this other movie called Big Bad Mama-san. And it's this movie about a female truck driver in Japan. And it's got some, you know, questionable stuff in it, some gratuitous sex and that kind of thing. And, but we dubbed it as a comedy, as a bunch of doofuses and rednecks and all this kind of stuff. But there's one scene in particular where there's a prostitute and a truck driver, and they're having sex in the back of his truck. And they don't show anything, it's not a porno, but it's like an R-rated movie, so you're seeing boobs and kind of really gross stuff going on. You're like, ugh. But it was in the movie, we couldn't take it out, so we had to dub it. And anyway, so I'm at this convention, and they're like, I said, hey man, by the way, this is an 18 or over, you gotta, no kids or anything like that. They're like, okay, fine, So it's supposed to be like a Saturday night at like 9 o'clock. It's a small convention, and there's only one main room, and they kept telling me, hey man, we need to move the time of your movie. Can we move it back to 8? We need the room for something else. I'm like, yeah, that's fine. Hey, can we move your movie? We gotta move it to 7, I was like, well, that's fine. Well, I wasn't really paying attention, and I mean, it got all the way moved to like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And so we fill up the room, and it's like at a great house. And the owner of the convention, he goes, oh dude, man, I'm so glad I made it. I want to come see the movie. I'm excited to see it. I'm like, yeah, it's kind of funny and all this stuff. And so the movie starts playing, and it's going, and everyone's laughing, it's a good thing, it's fine. And all of a sudden, the owner of the convention gets a call, like on his radio, it's like, we got a situation in Connaught, you need to go over here right away. So he runs off. All of a sudden, it comes up to this scene in the back of this truck with the prostitute and the driver. And they're getting it on and doing this stuff, and it's just like, and smelling each other, and it's just yuck. And I hear, and it's showing on a screen, like here, there's a projector right down here, right? And I'm sitting there watching it, I'm like, oh man, I forgot this part is in the movie, this is embarrassing, God, it should just be over. And all of a sudden I hear, there are children in here. And I panicked, and I was like, oh my God, and I realized, oh yeah, it's 4 o'clock, why wouldn't there be kids? And I ran in front of it with the projectors on the table. And I'm like trying to block it.
It was like a 2-hour panel. I was in 30 minutes. I was like, well, anybody got a question? So, last year, in 2017, we had a hurricane in Texas called Harvey. And it really devastated. My house flooded, we're still in a rent house right now. I'm trying to get back in our house, but I was at a convention in Miami, and so I couldn't get back into Houston because the airports were all shut down, right? So I get to Dallas, and I'm like, I've got friends there, I can kind of be on the phone with the insurance company and FEMA and all this stuff and kind of get it done. My wife and kids are down there living with another family, eating ramen in cold water. I'm like, but there's nothing I can do because I can't get in. There was no getting in or out of the city. And so I was with my friends, and I had another convention coming up in Minneapolis, and I'm like, I'll just have to go from there and go up to the convention. And she's like, yeah, you might as well. You can't get into Houston, and go. So I go, and I'm at the airport, and I discovered this bourbon called Basil Hayden. Very, very, yeah, you like Basil Hayden? Right, yeah, it's good stuff. Did you bring any? Shit! So anyway, I get up to there, it is a good bourbon, right? Yeah. And so I sit down, and I'm like, I'll take the filet, and you got Basil Hayden? I'll take a Basil Hayden on the rocks. And she goes, well, they're $10 a drink. Do you want a double for 15? I'm like, yeah. Yeah. So I have my double Basil Hayden on the rocks, and I order a second one, having my steak dinner, and I start thinking about my kids and my wife, and they're struggling, they're stranded down there, and I'm like, I'm gonna need another Basil Hayden. So I have 3 of these doubles, and she goes, are you gonna pay cash or credit? I said credit. She goes, well, today's your lucky day. Our credit card machine just went down, and this is on the house. To which I said that I'm gonna need another double. which she gladly gave me. And I had like $10 in cash, and I said, here's a tip. She goes, that's all I care about. So I get on the plane feeling pretty loosey-goosey. And, you know, when you walk on the plane, that's the aisle, you walk on, there's the galley right here. And then you turn and you go down the aisle to your seat. And I was in the very back of the plane, the very last seat, the aisle. And I get on the plane, and I'm like, just kind of standing there looking at the flight attendant making the drinks for first class. And I said, you know, wouldn't it be great if just once you got on a plane and the flight attendant went, welcome aboard. And she's like, welcome aboard. So I don't have a picture. I wish I could get my phone to do it. I don't know how to make it work, but I'd love to show you this picture. But I got on a plane and I'm showing the flight attendants, you know, what my house is flooded. I'm showing the video and shit. And they're like, oh, you know, drinks are on us. You know, don't worry about it. And I was like, yeah, Basil hate it. And they're like, nah. So all of a sudden I hear these two guys coming down the aisle, and they're like, they got on the two white guys, dreadlocks, and, you know, just hats sideways and shit. They're like, hey, these are our cities, man! Dude, my name is J-Man. This is my buddy Lars. I'm like, well, I'm John. Nice to meet you. Like, we're gonna be sitting with you on the flight, dude! It's like, wow, okay. Hey, I am not a square by any stretch of the imagination, so I need to know what you guys are on right now. Just so I know what I'm dealing with. They're like, what are you talking about, man? We're just having a party. I'm like, I know. I need to know what kind of party it is. And they wouldn't tell me, man. As we're taxiing out of the jetway, I look over and J-Rad is dumping cocaine from a $1 bill. And they're like, no. Gonna need that cocktail stat. And they wouldn't serve it. They were, you know, because I'm not kidding. He was like sitting next to me. He was going, dude, we're on a plane.
I guess. It's a very bad.
Stairs. I have had, just by a show of hands, who's ever had anything like really weird happen to them? I think the weirdest for me, like the weirdest request was somebody said, can I lick you? Who says that? I'm like, sure. But the first question is, where? But she wanted to lick my hand. It's kind of weird. So I'm like, no, I don't think so, but we can pretend. And so I was so weirded out by that. I like, after the panel was over, I walked off, like, I've got to use the restroom. And I walked into the restroom, I go into a door, I go to the bathroom. I come out of the door. Why are there no urinals in this bathroom? Oh dear Lord. I start to walk out and like 5 girls come walking in like, ah! Sorry. Honest mistake. Anyway. There's something that's weird. What this means, but it says Lucy Boner. Oh, so any fans of Borderlands 2? Yeah! Any fans of Sakuracon? Yeah! So a lot of times we always get asked, you know, what's your favorite line? That kind of thing, right? You know, what you can do do a line, what's your favorite line? And it's very hard for us to remember. Some of us have, our characters have these iconic little lines like, Gendo, Shinji, get in the fucking robot. get in the fucking robot. But my favorite line of all time is from Salvador. And it was actually cut from the game.
Oh.
And I don't know why, because a lot of weird, worse stuff is said, It's not like, we can't put that in a video game. But he's in this like berserkering mode, so he's just going, he's got 2 big old 50 cal guns, whatever. And he's just having this like orgasmic state. And this was the line. It's like having 3 dicks!
Yeah.
Told you, honey, I'm a big deal.
Yeah, okay, excellent. Please send them.
Friends and fans and that kind of thing. And there are these guys that came down to see me one time in Miami, not this last time, but just years ago. And they're in my autograph line, and they walk up and they go, "Hey, John, we're blah, 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 and we're from Ohio. We came all the way down to Miami to see you, and we're just thrilled, and blah, blah. And we made something for you." And I said, "Okay." And they pull up this thing. And it's not, this big piece of wood. And it's a wood burn. Like, they made a etching or a carving or whatever. And it's of a character named Huang from a show called Darker Than Black. And I love that character. It was one of my favorite characters. And I'm like, "Dude, you guys made that. How cool. That's so nice of you. Thank you." "Well, we have one more for you." And they pull out another wood burn. Except this one says, "It's like having 3 dicks." I can't wait to take this home. I think we'll just put it right on the mantle. Yeah. So, I will say this, I do love Canada. And I love it. Although the last time I was in Canada, it did not go well. Sorry. But, so just a little rule of thumb. It was a convention, Anime North, which is about the size of this convention, pretty big one. And we're in opening ceremonies on Friday morning. And they had the actors come up and introduce themselves and say hello and get the crowd fired up. And I went up there and I was like, "How we doing, Toronto? Woo, let's get everybody fired up." And the stage is probably about as high as the bottom of that screen. And there were stairs to leave, to get off the stage. But after I got everyone fired up, I thought, dude, I'm going to jump off like a rock star. 45-year-old rock star. I just, and I came down and went, the first thing was, "Oh, that wasn't supposed to happen." And I kind of limped over the chair. Ricky Karbowski sitting next to us. "What the fuck was that?" I can tell you it wasn't a good idea. It turns out I broke my heel. And was in a wheelchair the entire convention. Yeah, it sucked, man. It was awful. It was terrible. You guys like jokes? Yeah. All right. I told this joke earlier at dinner. We had a little VIP thing. Anybody go to that? Yeah. And anyway, so I was there. I was telling this joke. This is my favorite joke of all time. Favorite joke of all time. So blind cowboy walks into a bar, sits down at the bar, and he goes, "Bartender, cold beer." Bartender hands the blind cowboy a cold beer. Blind cowboy takes a sip of it and he goes, "Hey, you want to hear a good blonde joke?" And
She goes, well, sure, blind cowboy, you can tell your little blonde joke, but before you do, I'm obligated to tell you that you walked into a lesbian bar. Sitting to the right of you are two blonde ex-commandos. Sitting on the other side are two blonde bull riders. And I'm a blonde Marine. Still want to tell you a little blonde joke now, blind cowboy? Blind cowboy takes a sip of his beer and he's like, well, not if I gotta tell it 5 times. That is my favorite joke of all time. All right, what else? What else? Guy dancing on the floor. Guy dancing, no, Eric Vale in the bathroom. Yeah, get that. Get that.
So, what has happened to you guys? Anybody want to share another story? I've got 1 or 2 more. Come on up here. You come up here first, then we'll get your story. Because, by the way, you can tell your stories, but then I'll take them to the next convention and make it my story. Come on. Don't be shy.
John,
This is a free form. I'm going to free form it. So come on up, man. What is your name? Mike. Mike? Do you sure you look like you had to think about that? Like, Mike. Yeah. Michael. Okay. Mike. Okay. Mike, Michael, or Mikey?
Whatever you're comfortable.
Or whatever I'm comfortable with. All right, Bob. Have a seat. No. Kidding. So tell me. So here, come stand here and tell us what is your story.
Well, first of all, speaking of Canada,
Now, hang on, I was supposed to start a war.
no. Let's say Canada Border Patrol. Okay.
Is that the story?
No. Two conventions I missed due to Border Patrol issues. First one, went up there, one of the people in the group was under 18, couldn't get permission from both their parents, had to drive all the way back from the border to Spokane, Washington, and then back up again. And about that time, it was going from night into the day of the convention. And it was a convention in Ellensburg, Alberta. Not Ellensburg, Edmonton, Alberta.
Yeah.
And if any of you have been on that drive, it's kind of a long stretch when you actually finally turn north, then get to Calgary, and then keep driving and driving and driving and driving.
Can I ask you a question real quick?
Yeah.
If you're driving to Canada, why is there never a time you're going north?
Let's just say it's,
When you turn north, like, how far did you go? Oh, shit, it's
no, it was northeast of where I
I got you. Okay, fair enough.
But it's a long drive. And I was starting to nod off. And those, like Stacker 3, they were called Yellow Jackets though, said only to take 3 of them. I ended up taking a bottle of 12 because I'm just... So finally got them.
Are you still like awake from that point?
Well, actually, finally got to Edmonton, and then was trying to figure out where the convention was being held at, and figured out we need to get to a hotel room, and we were checking in a hotel room, and while someone else was checking in too, I had to walk over and vomit.
Okay, I'm gonna just take that from you. Good story, thank you.
I'm sorry to hear that. I just realized, though, you tell your story, but I just realized something very important that happened to me today at this convention. Yeah, so I'm on the 30th floor of the Hyatt. And, oh no, it's great, it's fine. And, and I went in to take a shower today, and I came out of the shower, and I'm buck naked, walking in my room, and I go to the windows. But my thought is, 30 floors up, no one's gonna go. And frankly, if they saw something, they'd be like, yeah, well, you know, I mean. But what my mind didn't go was, oh shit, there's an office building right here. So, all right, what is your name?
Tristan.
Tristan. All right, Tristan, tell us your story.
All right, so how many people here were at last summer's Anime Expo?
Yeah.
Did anyone else experience LineCon?
Yeah.
Yeah, my friend and I show up there day one. We walk past where the line is supposed to end, walk all the way around the convention center and back. 5-hour line just for badge pickup. And I'll have you know that I was cosplaying Corrin from Fire Emblem, which is a pretty heavily armored character in the LA heat, and it was not pretty.
That is the worst.
Great job. That's a long time. One of these, so I'll get you guys to stay, but I tell you, one of the things about, you know, the tough thing about cosplay is, it's like, you know, that's what you brought, you know, you probably don't have a whole lot of stuff. So again, MetroCon with Monica, and she was gonna kind of walk me around and show me the ropes, you know. And Saturday night, she's like, well, let's go take a look in that room over there. And she walks in, it's like midnight, Saturday night. And she walks in the door, opens the door, and just goes, whoa! No, we're not going in that room. And it was just that con funk smell. It was brutal. It was brutal. All right, yeah, come on up. Yeah. What is your name?
Let me get up there first.
That's a funny name.
Jessica.
Jessica. One of my favorite songs is called Jessica.
This is a story where I actually almost died.
Clearly it has a happy ending.
Or she's a ghost.
All right, let's hear it.
So I can't remember what panel it was I was waiting for. It had something to do with Todd Habercorn. Back in, I believe it was 2013, back when Sakuracon was still at Vancouver, Washington in August. And I was cosplaying a Homestuck God tier, if anybody who knows what Homestuck is. And I was very self-conscious of my body, so I decided to wear like some sort of spandex underneath to make myself look thinner. And so the line ended up being pretty long, and we had to stay outside and in the heat. You know, 80, 90 degree heat.
Yeah, I'm from Houston. I know all about that brutal 80 degree.
So we were standing there for like probably 15, 20 minutes, and I could feel like myself going, okay, this is starting to get really hot. We finally go in, and we sit down in the panel room, and I start to feel nauseous. I start to sweat, everything was going red, and this was about 2 months prior, before coming to that convention. I learned first aid, and I was first aid certified, and we learned about heat stroke. I was suffering from pre-heat stroke,
Wow.
and I had to go to emergency care.
Holy moly.
So that happened. They laid me on the ground, like get some ice, you know, drink plenty of water. It was horrible.
Wow, well, thank you for sharing. I know it's not really a fun story, but we're sure glad it came out all right.
Moral of the story, never wear Spanx in August, ever.
I'm wearing Spanx right now. All right, I got time for one more. Yeah, right there. Sure. Yes. There better be a bottle of whiskey involved. What is your name?
Blaine.
Blaine? Just plain and simple. Yeah.
Are you from here, Blaine?
Yeah.
You are? All right, what's your story?
So I was working at a booth in the exhibitors hall about probably 8 or 9 years ago. And every once in a while you have people come up and say to you something like, you know, hey everybody, there's somebody who's stealing stuff. They're wearing this cosplay, or look out for somebody who looks like this. So one time we had a guy come up, working Sakuracon staff. We love you guys. And he comes in, he goes, so this is a family convention. I'm like, yeah. He goes, yeah. So there's somebody cosplaying, but it seems it's a girl about this tall, except she's not wearing underwear. And we're like, okay. And they're like, no. So we're on the lookout for this person. We need to find them. We're like, that's great. Good luck. And they're like, no. Could you go out and look and see if anybody comes by? Like, okay. You want us to go out and look for somebody, look under the skirts of all the cosplayers coming by and see if they're not wearing underwear? And the person just kind of looks at us for a while and goes, yeah, thanks. I don't know if they were caught, but it wasn't by us.
Not for lack of trying.
I took my son one time to a convention in Hampton, Virginia. It was very cool. And, but it was not quite that. But, he was like 10 years old at the time, and I take him to this convention, and the staff was super friendly and everything, and we're watching Pacific Rim. Do you know the movie Pacific Rim? It's also called Evangelion, but sorry. Anyway, we're watching it, and all of a sudden there's like this police activity. Going like, what's going on? And my son's sitting right there, and some guy from the convention comes over, and I'm like, hey dude, what's going on? He's like, oh, we've caught a couple of people having sex right behind those doors. Yeah, so conventions, they're a blast. They're a blast. I love coming to conventions, and I will always hope to come to conventions as long as conventions will have me. But guys, that's really all the time I got. I have kind of blew my wad with my sex on the stomach story earlier. I close with that. But guys, thank you all so much. Have a great convention.